Hey guys, just wanted to show off some thoughts on the ban list coming up soon in March. I had some thoughts on this and wanted to share them. I've also been talking to my buddies Steve and Vin, who have been helping me with a little bit of this and what their thought, kind of helping me with a little bit of this and helping me with their thoughts. I think it's a good idea to be speculative right now, but at the same time, understand that a lot of this is just perception bias. So keep it in mind while you're going through either what you want to get in preparation for this or what you're trying to get rid of. But yeah, let's get into the thoughts, predictions, and thoughts of this. So during this video, we're going to discuss just a handful of things. It's going to be super fast. We're going to talk about what the community is saying, what could be banned and unbanned, rating likelihood based on others' thoughts and our own, the wish list that we'd like to see, which you can see Sakazuki there and expect what you're going to get, and do we need a ban list? So what's the community saying? It's a lot of conversations around the lines of unban Sakazuki, unban Moby Dick, unban Kabuji, unban Law, ban Doflamingo, ban Blue Teach, ban Law. God, there's a lot of bans here, and I think realistically, there's only a few here that have some merit to the conversation. Now, looking at the bans, I just don't want to list them out. You can see them here. I think that anyone says unban Red Purple Law, you're wild. But if you're thinking about, like, if you're in the camp of ban Blue Teach or ban Dofi, I don't realistically think ban Dofi is great for the meta. I think that ban Blue Teach is very possible. Banning Bounce Law, probably not, and there's a reason why. I'll talk about that in a bit. Putting maybe banning ACOS Green Kid is not really likely at all. It's just because of the RG Smoker results, and just because of that other Green Smoker and the Rosinante, they can kind of like work off one another, where Rosinante can get protected by RG, the Smoker, and then he can then protect like Kid. And ban Gum Gum Giant, which I think is just a really bad practice. Maybe, a rule just like Union Arena can happen with that, with not being in, the purple Luffy, which I think is why people have been bringing that up. But, Bandai's going to see what other people are playing. They're going to be listening to the community no matter what. I'd expect that they're hearing what we're saying, probably a lot about the Sakazuki unban, just because looking at this price of $44.71 and 17 buyers, I would love to say someone knows something, and it definitely feels like one of those conspiracy theories with that, but I doubt that this is going to occur as much as, many people would like. And I'm one of those people. I'm here for it. Unban Sakazuki. It's definitely a pipe dream, without a doubt. But man, would it be fun to see him in the current meta. I think that we're in a position where power creep, is a real thing now in the game. And at the same time, Sakazuki's ability is very, very close to Lucci's. There's a lot of similarities between the two. And I think that him being unbanned wouldn't really be bad for the game. I'd like to see what it could occur, and that also depends on if Moria may very well face a ban, or could happen to what happened in Union Arena with the Sukuna and Yuji, where Moria and Rebecca may not be allowed in the same deck. I think Vampire has a really, really good point about that too, where he discusses that, so I definitely check out his video on this. Teach may be the safest pick for Doflamingo to stay relevant without killing the deck. That's like Lucci with NS Lobby. I really don't think from a business standpoint that we would see them ban cards that have multiple iterations of themselves, or if they're actively selling a certain deck to ban the leader for Doflamingo would just completely gut their sales of that starter deck. There's no reason to buy it. So I don't think that's realistic. Unbanning Moby Dick is something else that people are talking about, which is getting a lot of traction. Whitebeard might get that support. You may actually see that because he's been out of meta. It's very, very speculative, but probably not. There's not a lot, it's just a wish list. I think for people, it's not really realistic, but could happen. Hachinoso might be a banned card. Blackbeard, I think there's a lot of concern that, just like Teach, Blackbeard's kind of getting free mana. That's the conversation around it. So Hachinoso kind of just does that exact same thing that Teach does, where it kind of cheats a little bit in the game to get extra resources. So with the Kuzan coming out, where it's just like nothing can touch it, both removal, bottom decking, anything, it's not realistic to allow such cycling in a deck that they now have to be so careful about adding anything to. So let's talk about likelihood. And I told you to be fast too. Bans and restrictions. So I think it's very likely Teach is going to get the ban. That's not only my own opinion, my buddies Vin and Steve here, I know they shared that opinion. Hachinoso too, I think is up there. Steve and I have really debated about that, and I'm more leaning yes, so I am going to go with what I have here, but of course, that could very well not happen. As for Pudding, I think it's very likely they're not making any money off of it. There's no new iterations of the card, unlike Moria, which does have a likelihood because they feels like they want to get past it. They know the community has been yelling about this. Eggman has a really good point about it too, but I think it just would be crazy considering they have like a ton of versions of this card, and there was a new one. I think there's a regional China version of Gecko Moria that just came out in some sort of premium pack. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that on Twitter recently. So with that, the PRB, I know there's another one too, so I think there's like 5 different iterations of this card. Seems unlikely. Bounce Law, I actually had this up at 6 earlier today, and then I went to play some games with some buddies, and then they told me that there is a leak about how Bounce Law is getting an alt art in PRB2. So highly doubt that that's occurring. My argument before about with and without it is like, yeah, it's one of its strongest cards, and it kind of just like makes Teach broken having the 2 in the deck, so that's why Teach might really be the banned card. And then Bounce Law, it's just like perfect in Boa. It like kind of ruins Boa a little bit, and they just have that PSA Boa, which is, maybe Bandai and PSA don't, communicate on that, but someone in Bandai has to be approving the card use. Like someone has to say yes, and I think they wouldn't have the idea of what the meta would be without allowing that card to be printed in that way, or it kind of invalidates the price point of it and makes people go, oh, why did I pitch into this before like a ban occur? Boa Blocker, super unlikely. Just people have been talking about it. I get it. And Doflamingo has some likelihood to it. We could definitely see a Doflamingo ban, but I think, from the position of they're still selling the starter deck, I doubt it. So do we need a ban list? So I actually said no originally, but my friends convinced me that yes, Dofi has been in every top 8 for more than 2 sets. I think it's realistically every top 8. Look in yourself. Let me know if that's untrue. I'd actually love to see a results where Dofi isn't in the top 8. But do we need an unbanned list though? Maybe Power Creep is here, as we pointed out before, or we could just get a new leader around the same effect like Sakazuki. They may see what the community wants with Sokka, and they may meet it. So yeah, guys, thanks for everything, and that's everything. Let me know what you think in the bottom, and I'd love to hear any feedback, or you think I have anything wrong. If I misspelled something, you caught me. My bad. All right, guys, have a good one, and enjoy your weekend.